Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We're doing European Open 4 predictions. This is the first event on the road to Raleigh. We've got an exciting lineup in groups, a couple big matches that I'm really looking forward to. This top quadrant is definitely the first one I want to talk about. Ninja Pyjamas coming out of the Swiss stage with the #1 seed. They ended up taking down Karmine Corp, Geeke, and Gentlemates in an absolute crazy bracket run. So they're facing 100%, who went 3-2. Losing to BSK and Vitality. Vitality, an expected loss. BSK, definitely an upset. But this BSK roster is the Rustizi, Mozzarella, and Pisky roster. So cool to see them going through one. That being said, in terms of Ninja Pyjamas, they've been on a heater so far. Itachi was driving a Roadhog and beating Karmine Corp. And only 2 teams have beaten Karmine Corp so far. So I think you need to drive a fancy car to beat Karmine Corp. This should be a sweep, though. It's a tough draw for 100% first round, but don't lose to BSK and the Swiss. Smoky Bacon Association and Karmine Corp. I know this is Smokes. They've also got Matean rejoining from a while back. They used to team together on Endpoint, and then they have Compact. I think this should still be very self-explanatory for Karmine Corp. It's tough that Smoky Bacon gets drawn into this group because, yeah, that's stacked. Vitality Dopamine. Dopamine is the KDOP roster with Astral and Reese Fox. I'm going back and forth between Wikipedia because I don't know all these rosters exactly off the top of my head, at least as well as I do for North America. This should also be a 3-0. I know I'm predicting a lot of sweeps, but we also saw all the favorites win 3-0 in Group A in North America, and that was with Rebellion also being one of the favorites, so it was kind of crazy to see that. But yeah, fast forward, went through the Swiss 3-0. They faced not as good. Actually, no, they went 3-1. They faced Chippy Chips, Dopamine, lost to Synergy in a Game 5, and then beat Cloud Esport. So, I mean, not the most impressive run. I guess they still beat Dopamine, which was a top 16 team. And then Atom Unity. Atom Unity is Voiceful, Velocity, and Nugget. Nugget was one of the pros that is now unbanned from the whole YMC debacle last season. And I'm going to predict Growly because I like this roster a little bit better than Atom Unity. They went 3-1, which is actually pretty impressive for them considering how they were doing at the start of the season. It's Mike Boy, Edgeby, and Growly, I believe. So, yeah, let's jump over to Group B. We got the Dignitas versus Tokyo Tigers. The Tokyo Tigers roster I do kind of like. It's got Cash, who retired and then unretired. It also has Pluvo and Grandma. That being said, this should be a Dignitas win. I'll give Cash the one game. Geeke and BSK, as I was mentioning, BSK went 3-1 through the Swiss, and I think this is a pretty brutal draw for them, to be honest, getting into this group. I have to have Geeke winning here. I know that I have him 7th in the world. I'll make it go 5 because French, but gotta have Geeke winning that. BSK is... I think they'll do a little bit more damage. I hope they do, but because I got 7th in the world, so gotta back them. Synergy versus Team BDS. This one's pretty exciting. Synergy coming off that 3-0 Swiss performance after taking down Bill's Balls, which I don't know who's on that team. I'm not gonna look it up. They went 1-3, but they took down Bill's Balls. They took down Cloud Esport and Fast Forward to go 3-0. So definitely a worse bracket than Ninjas in Pyjamas, but kind of hard to get a better bracket than Ninjas in Pyjamas. Meanwhile, Team BDS with Mutzer, Juke, and Nico like this squad a lot. They went 3-2. They almost got reverse swept out of the Swiss, losing to Dignitas and JJ Rocks. I would definitely say that JJ Rocks is not a loss that they should be taking, but they managed to clean it up at the end. I'm going to give BDS the win here. I think they'll perform a little bit better during the main event, but I'll make it go to 5. JJ Rocks versus Gentlemates. Now, Gentlemates, I think, went 3-2, which is why they're here, but they also had a crazy, insane Bucles because they had to run into Ninjas and then Karmine. So, mostly on the bracket that they go 3-2. They beat Tokyo Tigers, Rito Bendito, and then Chippy Chips. So, they did take down one of the top 16 teams, but really their 2 losses are very excusable. JJ Rocks, meanwhile, lost to Atom Unity and had a little bit of a upswing in performance, beating TSK, Crossbar Challenge, and then BDS. I do have to go. Gentlemates still, they've got a better roster on paper, and I really think their losses in Swiss are just due to circumstance, to be honest. And also, we got to set this up. All right, over to Group A. I'm looking at this top 8, and this looks pretty stacked, with the notable exception of fast forward. Sorry, that's a little bit mean. Ninjas and Karmine, we saw this in the Swiss. We saw it round 1. Ninjas and Pyjamas ended up getting disconnected or disqualified from their first match, so they had to run through lowers. It wasn't actually like a team loss, but that's what places them against Karmine in this opening Swiss stage. And I mean, they managed to take care of business, which is props to them. That being said, I don't expect it to happen again. I'll give it 3-1, but this should swing right back into Karmine's favor. Vitality fast forward. This should be a clean day for Vitality. I'll give them a 3-0 on the day. It's a little bit shorter now that you don't play the seeding match, and this is the first time I'm doing predictions without having this seeding match, which is a little bit weird. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a pretty simple day for Vitality, in my opinion. We'll go ahead and stick with Group A with these rounds. 100% Smoky Bacon. Something tells me that I would not be surprised to see Smoky Bacon win here. It should go to 100%, and honestly, 100% should go to top 8. But I could also see this being where they just drop out and lose. So while I'll raise the alarm bells, I'm not going to predict it. I'm still going to have 100% beating Smoky Bacon. I just think it's hard to not predict them based on the split they had last split. I know I said split twice, whatever. And then Dopamine versus Atom Unity. I think Atom Unity is... I already went over them. They're the first full velocity nugget. And then Dopamine, K-Dop Astral. I think it'd be cool to see K-Dop Astral and Reese Fox get the win. And not only that, they are actually probably like good enough to do that. K-Dop was making top 12s consistently with Caliente last split. Save the Game was making top 12 twice with Astral. I know he wasn't necessarily the biggest catalyst for that roster. A lot of people are looking at Mutzer, and not a lot of people are looking at K-Dop for the reason Caliente was succeeding. But yeah, I'll give Dopamine the win 3-2. And then we got to drop over to Group B, which I'm really excited for both of these matches. We get another iteration, most likely, of Dignitas versus Geeke. This has gone Geeke's way the last 2 times, including a reverse sweep at the major. If there's ever a time for Dignitas to get their revenge, it's here. And I honestly should be predicting it. Let's see how their Swiss runs went and see if that sways me. Geeke lost to NIP 0-3, but that's kind of expected. Beat Nomster, beat, I don't know how to pronounce that, and then beat K-Dop. Okay. And then, who else am I looking at? Dignitas. Oh, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, including a 3-0 over BDS. Slightly stronger shape of the schedule. I'm going to give it to Dignitas. Against my better judgment, I know I've got Geeke rated higher, but in all honesty, there's a lot of people predicting that Dignitas is more likely to make the major than Geeke. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, to be honest, but at least to start, I'll have Dignitas taking their revenge. And then BDS Gentlemates for top 6. This has to be one of the more exciting parts of this event because that means we'll either see Gentlemates back into the top 6 to the upper bracket, or we'll see the young XSN squad recently signed to Team BDS. Hopefully, I'm definitely biased. I like this Team BDS squad a lot. This has to go 5 no matter what, just for the entertainment factor. I'm going to give it to Gentlemates this first time, though. I'd love to see BDS through here because it would be such a big win, but I'm going to go Gentlemates with Eugen. I think they'll put themselves right back on the map. And then Tokyo Tigers versus BSK. I kind of feel bad for Tokyo Tigers here, but we're going to give Rusteezy 95 his first win in the RLCS, taking down Cash, Pluto, and Grandma. And then JJ Rock Synergy. It's actually crazy because this is a 3-1 team against a 3-0 team. I've actually predicted the 2-3-2 teams to win here, so this is really the first time I think I've seen teams that didn't go to round 5 in a matchup in the lower bracket, either in the event or in Swiss, to be honest. I'm going to give it to Synergy, though. I think they're a better squad. They went 3-0, and I mean, I have more reason to believe in JJ Rocks now, but I've been a historical non-believer in these guys. Truthfully, I also like AJG a lot. I think he's got, it's cool to see the imported talent into Europe because that's kind of the flip side of what normally happens. But yeah. And then I'll jump back over to Group A. Fast forward for 100%. This is one of the tougher matches to get into the top 8. And if I have 100% winning here, I definitely have them beating Fast Forward. If Smoky Bacon win here, then it's Fast Forward to the top 8 in my opinion. But I do like this 100% squad. If they manage to win this, which I think they should, but you should be aware that this upset could happen. I would definitely predict them over Fast Forward as well. Ninjas should be taking care of Dopamine. This should not be a problem at all. It's just unlucky they run into K-Corp with a rematch. And then BDS versus BSK. It's got to go BDS's way. If BSK make a top 8 here, it'd be kind of crazy as well. But I think BDS should be favored and should be winning that. And then Geek versus Synergy. I'm going to go Geek pretty cleanly. It's a tough draw for Synergy that they go 3-0. But honestly, like, this is a match that they got to win because you don't want to be dropping down to this lower bracket, especially if this is how the uppers is going to look, to be honest. This looks stacked. I like all these teams. I think I have, actually myself, I have all these teams in my top 20 of the world. So jumping into the playoffs, we'll start down here. Geek 100%. So let's actually, hold on. Let's go back and look at the seeding because the seeding matches work differently now. Essentially, you take the 1 and the 2 seed, and whoever's the higher initial seed coming out of the Swiss stage gets first in the group, and whoever's not first gets second, or whoever's lowest gets second. And so, like, Karmine won the major. Obviously, you would think they would be the highest seed, but since they lost in the Swiss, they're actually coming into Group A as the 5 seed. Meanwhile, Vitality is the 2 seed after going 3-0 through the Swiss. So Vitality get the first seed out of Group A, which is why we see them here, and Karmine Corp get the 2 seed out of Group B. Meanwhile, Dignitas 3-0 through the Swiss, number 1 in their group, end up going through here. So they're number 1. And then Gentlemates are the 6th seed, actually. So definitely on the lower end. Meanwhile, down here, 3rd and 4th is decided in the same way. 100% is the 8th seed, so they're guaranteed to be lowest. Ninjas is the 1 seed. So that tracks. Ninjas is the 3 seed. 100% is the 4 seed heading into the bracket. And then Geek is the 5 seed. Or actually, this is the 4 seed coming out of the Swiss. And BDS is the 7 seed. So Geek gets the nod there. So that's why it sets up for Vitality, Gentlemates, Dignitas, Karmine. If I'm not mistaken, Birmingham Open 1 was very similar, if not the exact same as this, right? Look at that. Look at that. Who knows what they're talking about? Anyways, Vitality versus Gentlemates. This has got to go Vitality's way still. I think Vitality really... They're confusing because they looked really good in Swiss, and then they looked really not as good in the playoffs. But they're still, like, they haven't faced a challenge with any of these teams, and I don't think Gentlemates is ready just yet. Meanwhile, Dignitas and Karmine Corp, it's just Karmine Corp. There's not much you can say. They've got to be winning that. I guess I do set up for Dig Vitality again. Ninjas and BDS. I'd love to predict BDS here, but Ninjas already took down Karmine, and I will be remiss if I don't predict them to win here. So, 4-2. I'll give them the nod. Geek 100%. This was what we saw in Open 3. It was a barn burner of a series. Some interesting gameplay. Geek pulled it out and then proceeded to win the event somehow. If you watched them on Saturday, you would never say in your right mind they were winning that event, but then they went 12-0 on the day. I think they have a lot more figured out than when they were facing that 100%, and I think there's going to be a lot less nerves. I think this goes Geek's way a lot more comfortably, to be honest. We got Ninjas and Gentlemates. I want to predict the mates here, but I'm going to be a little bit boring and say that Ninjas are going to claim their spot back in the top 4. They've been really consistent this season, and honestly, they're getting Miracle Run out of the major hurts a lot more than Space Station if you're a fan of Ninjas, because they did everything that you can imagine is necessary to make a major. Like, they got top 6 once, and then the other 2 were top 4s. Like, that's a brutal way to miss a major, to be honest. That's very consistent. Space Station, yeah. And so, yeah, I'll predict them over Gentlemates. I'll have it go that Game 7, like we saw in the first Open as well. But, yeah. And then Dignitas versus Geek. This is where rematch theory actually does come into effect. Dignitas, I have beating Geek here. The one thing that I wonder about rematch theory, especially with this event, is that with the new update to Rocket League, the replays are broken. And so you can't go back and watch an in-game replay. This matters because then I think you have to be like recording scrims or recording the footage in the way that you need to be in order to actually properly VOD review. Like, if you can't go back and look at the replays themselves, that could hinder teams' abilities to study the gameplay, especially of specific teams, which is what the whole rematch theory is based on. It's like you're going to be watching the film of the team that just beat you, and so your corrections to what is going wrong for your team are almost tailor-made to beat the team that you have lost to. And so I wonder if not having access to replays has an effect on the rematch theory, but truthfully, I don't think we're going to ever see enough data. I'm going to stick with my gut. This is going to go Geek again, this time in 6. Karmine and Ninjas, we've got another rematch, right? Yeah, because we have them in the upper bracket here. It's on Championship Sunday, and I might be called crazy for this. I know I've got Karmine in the world, number 1. They should be. Ninjas won in the Swiss, so they showed us it's possible. Yes, it's starting early. Yes, this is Championship Sunday. I'm gonna get interesting with it. I'm gonna give it a 4-2. Maybe that comes back to bite me. I mean, at the end of the day, I did just watch NRG roll through North America after they looked kind of not great at all on Saturday. My Gen G prediction wasn't looking the worst until it was. But yeah, I'm gonna call my shot. Ninjas will take down Karmine. It's got to be in 7, though. I don't know what I'm doing saying it's in 6. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen in 7. And then Vitality Geek. This has to go Vitality's way, I think. This matchup would occur before this matchup. I think normally the order of operations is we go here, 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 and here. This is done so that if the number 1 overall seed goes through, they get an hour break before the finals. I think that's just the preferred way that things go. Vitality isn't the number 1 overall seed, but because they come out of Group A with the 1 seed, they do assume the spot of number 1 overall. It's what we saw Gen G do this last event. They were the number 1 overall seed and then proceeded to not lose until the finals. But this one I should have going to Vitality. Geek, I mean, they could easily win this. Maybe not easily, but they could win this. I'm not bold enough to predict 2 upsets in the semifinals. And honestly, the fact that I'm predicting any upset over Karmine right now, after what I just watched from Falcons, Wildcard, and Energy when it comes to plot armor for teams that should be unbeatable, I mean, I should be predicting Karmine here, but against my better judgment. And then we got Vitality versus Ninjas. And if this happens in the finals, I could see it going either way. But this is where Monkey Moon starts to really, really make us nervous. 4-2. Vitality win the event. Is it bold? Yeah. Is it impossible? No. Did Vitality win the Open 4 last year after Karmine Corp three-peated in the first split? Yes. I don't know. Sue me. Say what you will. I got Vitality winning. Looking at the points, this does not really that much, to be honest. Karmine going out semis would be insane. But, yeah, that's what we got. I'm pretty confident in most of it. I like how the groups turn out, to be honest. And then this is really the boldest call. And truthfully, this is another match. Like I mentioned earlier, this is the match I'm upset for. Or on upset watch for. Match to watch, without a doubt. BDS Gentlemen if we get there. And then, yeah, playoffs will turn out how they will. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys. This was 19 minutes. I got to stop waffling for so long. Catch you guys next time.